Hi, and welcome back to our educational series for Life and Business Coaching. My name's David Beard, and we're very excited to bring you the latest module in our training series of helping you to create the life and the career of your dreams. The one that you've always known that you are capable of using your gifts and talents to share with the world. And this educational series is predominantly designed to help you to transition from where you are to where you know that you can be. And today I'm very excited because we've got one of the principal modules of this entire series, and one that I'm very fond of teaching, which is what's involved in transitioning from employment to self-employment or business ownership. Anybody who's made that transition will know that there's a lot in it. It's a very scary time. I know that I made that transition myself some 20 years ago, for transitioning from working in large financial services corporations along the eastern seaboard of Australia, international firms, national firms, and I made that transition to self-employed and then to business owner. And so today we're going to have a look at the necessary components and just a little bit of the psychology and what's involved in terms of knowledge, skill and attitude to make that transition. And that's one of the first points that is very critical to make, that the transition from employment to self-employment, which, as we've said, is one of the most critical decisions that anyone can make in their life, is simply a matter of a combination of knowledge, skill and attitude. And as we've covered off in previous series, there's not a problem with knowledge in the world. We've got plenty of libraries, we've got plenty of Google references, we've got plenty of resources, YouTube videos. There's no knowledge problem, there's no skill problem. Generally, most of us can read and write and do the things that we need to do. Generally, the problem that people have in transitioning from employment to self-employment is an attitude problem. And that's something we're going to focus a little bit more on today than you'd normally hear in a traditional How to Build a Small Business series. Okay. We're going to be focusing predominantly at the beginning part, the early part of this session, on a body of knowledge which was encapsulated in a work called the E-Myth. Now, if you're thinking of transitioning to a small business, from self-employment, whether it's a micro business or small business or even a medium-sized business, I can't highly recommend enough that you get a book by Michael Gerber called the E-Myth. Okay, it's been the #1 selling small business book on the planet for many years. And Michael Gerber, if you're familiar with him, is, as you know, is a legend in the small business education and coaching field. So I encourage you to definitely get that book. One of the principal messages in the E-Myth is that in the small business world, you generally find 3 types of creatures. Okay, the categories of people that wind up in opening a small business or starting their own business can be classified predominantly into 3 types of people. You have your entrepreneurs, you have your managers, and you have practitioners. Entrepreneurs are people who just love building businesses. They'll build a business and then they'll sell it. Managers just love getting things done through other people, organizing work, space and time. They just love managing all of that aspect within a small business or within a business environment. And then there's practitioners. Now, practitioners are people who just love doing the technical work of a business. So by that we mean, if it's a shoe manufacturing, a shoe repair business, they love repairing the shoes. If it's an insurance brokerage, they just love doing the insurance to client service. If it's a bakery, they love baking the breads. If they're an accountant, they love doing the bookwork and all of the things involved in being an accountant. Now, the E-Myth, when Michael Gerber originally started researching small business and came up with that term, the E-Myth, he realized that there was a perpetuating myth in the corporate sector, and that is that most small businesses are started by entrepreneurs. And what his research found out was that's exactly 180 degrees from the truth. Most small businesses are started by practitioners having what he called an entrepreneurial seizure. So the person who knows how to repair shoes opens a shoe repair business. The person who knows how to bake bread opens a bakery, and on it goes. The solicitor opens a legal practice. The doctor opens a medical practice, and on it goes. And the problem with that, whilst they know how to do the technical work of a business, the assumption that people make when transitioning from that employment to self-employment is that because they understand how to do the technical work of a business, that automatically they understand how to run a business that does that technical work. And again, that assumption is 180 degrees from the truth. And what you find is that people go out into the small business world, create a small business, and through a lack of knowledge and skills and often the incorrect attitude, and when I say knowledge, I mean business acumen, knowledge of the big idea, what they intend to do with the business, knowledge of finance, of marketing, of business structures. Without a lack of all of that knowledge, they go the way of most small businesses, which is that most of them are out of business within the first 5 years. Statistics vary. You hear 80% out of business in the first 3 to 5 years, and a further 80% after that. The figures vary. Suffice to say, most of them don't make it. Okay, and that's the number one lesson. And the reason they don't make it is lack of business acumen and lack of money, or it was just a terrible idea to begin with. Okay, so that's what we're going to be focusing on, is in this particular module, giving you the information and giving you the structure, the big picture, and the knowledge to be able to create a small business, and the resources as well, to be able to create a small business of your own with your eyes wide open, knowing what you need to do. So that's where we're heading in this particular module.